Recently, Minecraft had a new drop, and if you're anything like me, it's maybe not the most interesting thing that you've ever seen. But if you are unsatisfied with the state of Minecraft updates, don't forget that you can still find value in doing new things in your world. Maybe from previous updates that you haven't explored, or just projects you need to catch up on. One of the reasons why people might be angry with the state of updates, for me, really seems to be coming from a place of genuine love and wanting better for a game that we've all enjoyed for quite some time. You might know that from previous updates that the Minecraft team we know is capable of delivering excellent updates and work. I mean, think of Caves and Cliffs. Even though it may have taken a couple of releases for Caves and Cliffs to really get fleshed out, it at the end, and maybe looking back on it, is a really good update. I couldn't imagine playing Minecraft now without Caves and Cliffs. One, because caves are just way more interesting to look at and be inside, and cliffs actually generate. There's some, there's really nice, I guess cliffs generated before, but there's really nice vistas and really nice scenery now in Minecraft that I don't think older versions of the game really had. I think the game was a lot more, well, let's just say flat in terms of height, but now the game feels a really real it feels like there's a lot of interest around the world, and that's one of the greatest parts. So maybe if you are worried about the state of updates, maybe there's an update you haven't actually engaged with yet. Maybe there's some stuff you haven't done from previous updates that you might want to consider now that you have some time, or, whatever you want to do. And this might be worth considering from my standpoint anyway. I have chose to keep my Minecraft world in a specific version. 1.21.5 is the version I prefer to play on. It's I guess at this point at least a couple of drops behind, and potentially a reason why you might want to do this is because, one, Minecraft updates do have a habit of causing chunks to break, and, well, I guess more like error, but if you've seen, my Minecraft world, if you've dealt with your long-term Minecraft world, eventually you'll probably come across chunk errors, and every time that you update your world and they slightly tweak the terrain generation is a risk that you might have to deal with that. So, potentially by not updating, you're avoiding those issues. But also, it gives you more time potentially between when you might want to update next, when something catches your eye from a new update. When you do want to update your world, you can be prepared for it, because it is a good idea before an update that you potentially load chunks in a region that you're familiar with, so you don't get chunk errored structures or any chunk errored, I don't know. I have a couple of ocean monuments I think are broken, and villages galore have been broken in my world. So avoiding chunk errors by not updating right away could potentially be a good idea. And here's another thing to consider that I think is probably the biggest elephant in the room. When you choose not to update, say because you don't like the content of a new drop, or because you just don't want your world to break, you have to remember that if you do want some new content to freshen up your Minecraft game, Minecraft world, especially if you're playing Java, there's still plenty of mods out there. And if you're really looking for something maybe a little more niche that you don't think Mojang would maybe ever provide, because I do think we have to understand that Mojang has a really difficult job of determining maybe where they should put their priority in updates. I think for the most part, it isn't that tough, because I think a lot of us can agree the enchantment table really needs a rework. Anvil leveling. I mean, there's a whole list. The fletching table is probably the most well-known one, but I do think for the most part, Mojang has a difficult job prioritizing what things to add to the game, because for the most part, not everything they add is going to appeal to everyone. I know for the most part that people really don't care for archaeology, and maybe I'm glazing that a little bit, but I do think from what I've seen in the community, archaeology is probably one of the least liked features, and it's something that I really really like, because I think it just naturally allows me to explore world building and cultures in Minecraft using villages. But for the most part, archaeology is kind of like a feature, but it might be something you might want to check out if you haven't already looked into it, because it's if you're in a more recent version of the, I mean, it's been around for a while, I think Trail Ruins. If you're in a more recent version of the game, it's something that you can look around for and maybe excavate and get some pretty cool, neat resources, but also the sniffer is something I have not ever obtained in any world that I've been in, not even this long-term world. So maybe that's something that I too need to work on before I let myself update to a newer version and experience those new features. And, well, there's something that we also need to address. And that's that if you are sticking in an older version, that's potentially a good idea because you probably have a lot of projects in your Minecraft world that maybe you need to get to. For me, that's fixing quite a few villages and, building a lot of paths between all of those structures and villages and everything like that to keep the world connected. But if you can do all of those projects that are probably on your backlog and, get a couple of them knocked out, then for the most part, by the time you are maybe ready to update, potentially a couple more drops have come out, or more ideas have been generated around an update. I do think for the most part, when we're looking at the newest reveal drop, which is I think it's Sulfur Cube, is basically the idea. What do they name the drop? I can't remember. I think it was like cubed or something like that. Cubed. That's not it. Okay. Anyway, the newest drop that Mojang revealed, I do think a lot of people have illustrated that for the most part, if Mojang is willing to tap into a feature and give it more oomph, I suppose, then I do think that there's a lot of value in it. Like, for example, people proposing, a sulfur cube, maybe it has chest storage or, a note block. It'll play a note when you hit it. These are all interesting ideas, and I do really hope that Mojang considers them, because I think the biggest problem with recent Minecraft updates is there's this phrase I think I heard a long time ago. I think it was used to describe No Man's Sky, but basically the idea with that game at launch, it's a much better game now, by the way. Those developers have done amazing work at trying to redeem that game. In my mind, they have redeemed that game. I've played it. You should potentially give it a try if you're into that, but aside over, I do think that quote really sticks for a lot of games beyond that, and that's No Man's Sky at launch was a mile wide but an inch deep. And sometimes that's how Minecraft updates more recently feel. Maybe not like a mile wide, because they're pretty much kind of targeted updates, I think. Like, anyone still going to the Pale Garden? I don't think so. Maybe, but I just went there to grab some wood types and, grab the new wood type anyway, and then I got out of there, and I've never gone back. But those kind of updates that are really targeted, they feel like they're an inch deep. And that's to say that it feels like, given more time to bake in the oven, metaphorically, those updates could have had more interesting ideas that could have been more interwoven into Minecraft's existing gameplay, which is, I think, a point that a lot of people are bringing up, that the problem with modern Minecraft drops is that they really feel disconnected from the rest of the game. They feel like a one-time experience that you go out and do, and then, it's over. And that's fair, but I would say that that's potentially what a lot of people do in Minecraft anyway, is you go to explore something one time, and for the most part, that's the only time you'll ever see it. But maybe you just need to be a little bit forgiving to Mojang. I do think that if you are bored of current Minecraft, the updates, the drop system, like I said, just don't update your game. And while I know that sounds like obviously, I do think a lot of people stick on Minecraft versions for the reasons I've mentioned, making sure your world doesn't corrupt. But also, the one thing I really did want to hone in on was delaying that gratification anyway. If you are willing to wait for the newest Minecraft drops to really accumulate, so what I mean by that is you stick on your version, And, you know, if you are like me, maybe, you don't really have a fear of missing out. Like, I know that if I'm willing to wait, then I can potentially get something better. And for the most part, I think this can apply to the drop system. If you're, I'm not saying that you need to like drip feed yourself content, but if you're willing to wait by playing on an older version and, you know, getting your projects sorted out, making sure your world is in a good state before you're ready to update, potentially a bunch of drops will have come out by then. And when you play them all at once, then you can really experience them in a row, and you can get a lot more dopamine rush like you're getting from an older update that introduced a lot of content like caves and cliffs. And a couple of updates that I also thought were worth mentioning that the Mojang team absolutely crushed. I think everyone knows this one. When they reworked the Nether, it was probably one of the, like, even maybe potentially better than caves and cliffs, because the Nether before was just really a place you seldom went to. Let's say you, I mean, if for the most part you just grab, you know, maybe lava because you needed to restock your lava smelter, but for the most part, the Nether wasn't a super interesting place. But the Nether update really changed that. The Nether is a way different place now. Now you can even survive in it if you wanted to as a survival challenge. What I'm saying is, we know Mojang is capable of stuff that's great. Village and pillage, I couldn't imagine playing Minecraft now without it. I need my villagers to be as smart as they are now and make villages more interesting than they were, you know, and say when I started Minecraft 1.2.5. What I'm saying is, by the time you're ready to upgrade, when you've worked on all these projects in your world, you've gotten everything squared away, you'll be perfectly ready to see all the new drops in a much greater release when you're like 6 versions behind like I am, and it'll be a lot more interesting of a game. But if you're maybe not willing to wait, it's really worth checking out mods, because obviously there's a ton of Minecraft mods, but worth considering because there's a lot of niche mods out there that potentially you might want to play. I know when I played Minecraft on that older version all those years ago, I liked playing with the Civilization mod, and I think Mine Colonies was also the name of the mod. Those were both two excellent mods that really let me play with the idea of, you know, what I do in villages now, way, way, way before an older version. So potentially, if you're looking at mods, you really don't need to update. And if there's still lots of stuff from old updates you haven't explored, potentially consider exploring those. And hopefully, if you are maybe not the happiest with the state of updates, there's still a lot you can still do in your Minecraft world. And if you are happy with the state of updates, then keep playing along.